What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here. I'm just going to set the record straight. I'm going to set the record straight on who the best running back in the NFL is right now here in 2017. So I saw Skip Bayless. Everybody knows Skip Bayless. And he said that Ezekiel Elliott was the best running back in the NFL. And there are many fans out there that think that Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back in the NFL. I'm here to tell you that Ezekiel Elliott is not the best running back in the NFL. He actually isn't even the second best running back in the NFL. I'm going to set the record straight right here and now. Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in the NFL. Second is David Johnson. David Johnson is the second best running back in the NFL. And third is Ezekiel Elliott. You can have third spot. Good job, Zeke. You're great. You're a great player and you're a great rookie. But too many people are overrating you, including Mr. Skip Bayless himself. So I'm going to give you the reasons why Le'Veon Bell is the best, David Johnson is the second best, and third is Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, so let's just look at the statistics, shall we? So Zeke ran 322 times, which was the most by far of both of these other running backs. He had 1,600 yards and 1,600 yards, all right? That's a great season. Led the league in rushing. Awesome season for Zeke. He's arguably the MVP of the league. He isn't my MVP, but he's arguably the MVP of the league. He had a 5.1 yards per carry. That's excellent, especially for 322 attempts. Receiving, 32 receptions, 363 yards, and a total of 16 touchdowns. Zeke is awesome. Zeke has great bursts out of the hole. He makes great moves once he gets through that hole. He makes guys miss in the second and third levels of a defense. He can take the ball from, the 20-yard line all the way to the house, from the 1-yard line all the way to the house. He has breakaway speed, and he can get you a long touchdown. He's awesome. He's a great player, and he's actually has pretty good vision for a young running back. But you look at what David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell have been able to do in 2016 and now going into 2017, and these guys are clearly on another level. These guys are clearly on a path straight to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I just said it, the Hall of Fame. Both of these guys are both young, but I think if they continue their pace, they could easily make it into the Hall of Fame. David Johnson had 293 attempts this season. He ran for just over 1,200 yards, so not as impressive as Zeke. He had less carries, but he didn't do nearly as much damage. He only had a 4.2 yards per carry. But in the receiving game, David Johnson is basically a receiver. Actually, in college, he played a little bit of receiver. He was a great receiver in college, and then they made him into a running back, and he's a great in-between tackles runner. He has phenomenal speed. And the thing about David Johnson is he can run routes like a wide receiver. He can run them out of the backfield. He can run them outside. He can run them in the slot. David Johnson had 80 catches, 879 yards, and 20 touchdowns. So if you add 1,200 plus 800, that means that he had 2,000 yards this season. There are not many running backs in the history of football to have 2,000 yards in general, all right? There's a couple that have done it just rushing, and then there are a couple that have done it with receiving and rushing. Those that come to mind, LT, Roger Craig did it. There are a few. I think Edgerrin James did it, but there are a few guys that have been able to catch the football, run the football for 2,000 yards. There are also others like Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Eric Dickerson, Jamal Lewis, who have done it just running the football. But the way that David Johnson has done it this season, absolutely ridiculous. And then you add on to the fact that he had 20 touchdowns, which was by far the most for a running back. LeGarrette Blount had 18 on the ground. But, David Johnson catching, I think it was 4 or 6 touchdowns, and then having a total of 20 touchdowns. Absolutely insane. Le'Veon Bell. This is why he's the best running back in the league. All right, so he had the second most yards for scrimmage since 2004. And in 2004, Priest Holmes had the most per game yards from scrimmage. But Le'Veon Bell is second on that list. He had 261 attempts, 1,200 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 75 catches in only 13 games, 616 yards, and 9 total touchdowns. Now, he doesn't have the touchdowns like the other two guys, but Le'Veon Bell's, what separates him is his unique vision. His vision is so impeccable. He reminds you of a great player at any other sport, a great goal scorer in hockey, or a great, shooter in basketball. That little split second after they do their move and take the shot. Le'Veon Bell has that inept ability that not many guys have in the history of football. It reminds you of Barry Sanders. It reminds you of a Wayne Gretzky. It's just impeccable the way that this guy is able to run the football, and he makes everybody around him better, because with Le'Veon Bell, you not only have to worry about him running the football, but when you worry about him running the football, you have to worry about him in such a different way than everybody else. Because not only do you have to try and tackle him and get him to the ground, but you have to make sure that you're containing him, because you can't let him get that big cutback lane to the opposite side. Your defensive ends and your linebackers have to play great and contain, because you have to swallow him in the middle. And then even with that and playing great discipline on your defense, he can escape from you, he can break a tackle, he can make you miss. So Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, is the best running back, not only because he can do all those things as a runner. Sure, he doesn't have the great breakaway speed Zeke does, but when he's consistently hitting 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, really no matter what offensive line he's had numerous offensive lines over his career. His offensive line in Pittsburgh is very good, especially in the middle, but it's not nearly the same level as Dallas's offensive line. One of the best offensive lines, most dominant offensive lines that the NFL has ever seen. And then for David Johnson, I think David Johnson is the best receiver out of all of them. Like I said, slot, outside, from the backfield, and his ability to carry a team without anybody else around him. Carson Palmer was terrible this season. Larry Fitzgerald is old, but he's still effective, and the Cardinals were terrible. I mean, they were not very good this year. They truly disappointed, but David Johnson was their only consistent player all season long. At least with Le'Veon Bell, he has Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger who can take some heat off of him. But still, that still makes Le'Veon Bell the best, because, like I said, all the things that you have to worry about as a defense. And then for Zeke, he's got help with the offensive line. The offensive line is outstanding. The scheme is great. Then you have Des Bryant to take the top off the defense. I mean, this guy is great, but the offensive line is so outstanding. I've seen plays where he's 10 yards down the field and he hasn't even been touched yet. Like, that's happened not just once, but numerous times. The way that Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson are playing right now is really, like Le'Veon Bell said, revolutionizing the running back position. And I don't think that they are really the first ones to do that. I don't think they're going to be the last ones to do that. But they're definitely helping change the way that people look at the running back position. Today, I feel like the best running back in the league needs to not only be a great runner of the football, but a great pass protector, a great guy that can catch the football out of the backfield, and not only out of the backfield, but as a receiver, lining up as a receiver. I forgot to mention Marshall Faulk is one of the guys that had 2,000 yards all-purpose. But these guys are absolutely outstanding. And to say that Zeke is better than these guys at his point in his career with really only a one-dimensional game. I mean, he has nice hands and he rarely drops a pass. And he's good out of the backfield. He's good on screens. But a lot of the help comes externally from Zeke. And I just don't think he has that full skill set yet, like a David Johnson or like a Le'Veon Bell. And that's why those two guys are the best running backs in the league. Slight edge to Le'Veon Bell. But Zeke is the third best because he just hasn't got that full skill set yet. I understand he's a great young running back, but don't put all this pressure on him calling him the best running back when he clearly isn't, and making these claims when he clearly is not the best running back in the league. All right? This is my rant about the best running backs in the NFL. Let me know who you guys think the best running back in the NFL is. For me, it's Le'Veon Bell. Then it's David Johnson. Then it's Ezekiel Elliott. Those are my feelings on the best running backs in the league. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Let me know in the comment section below. Peace out.